Hi everyone, my name is John Cottrell, and I'm going to be teaching a Power Hour class right here at 21st Yoga in Salt Lake City. Thanks for joining me. Now our focus today is going to be on hip openers. There's a lot of great hip openers that we can practice in yoga, and we're going to do a nice Vinyasa flow to work through some favorites of mine. Some prompts that you might be needing for your practice. I'm holding a block. If you have a block or two, grab a couple of blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can use something else, like even like a stack of books could be very helpful. Even a nice folded blanket can help as well. So a couple of blocks. I also have a blanket here. We're going to be doing some kneeling, and so if you need some extra padding underneath your knees, that could be very helpful too. Again, if you don't have a blanket, you can always just fold your mat underneath you just to give some extra padding for your knees if you need them. Okay, that's it. So let's go ahead and start. We'll start in mountain pose. So I invite you to come standing near the top of your mat. We'll just take a few moments here as we prepare for our practice together. You might stand with your feet about hip distance apart, toes pointing forward. Feel free to close your eyes or just soften your eyes. Take an easy gaze forward, just so you can take a few moments to move inside of self. And begin to tune into your breath. First, just the awareness that you are breathing. And as you begin to reacquaint yourself with your breath, just bring a little bit more energy to your breath. All you have to do is really just breathe a little slower. So as you breathe in, you might feel your breath rising to fill up your lungs. And a nice, full, complete exhale. Again, as you breathe in, you'll feel the breath rising to fill up your lungs. Even feel yourself get a little taller, a lengthening in your spine. Exhale. And just draw your navel inward towards your spine. A nice connection, establishing an awareness of your center. Inhale, feel the breath rising. Nice expansion of your upper body. Exhale, draw navel inward towards your spine. It's that light contraction of your abdominal muscles, feeling your center, your strength, connection. Take 3 more breaths like this as we now prepare our bodies to move. And when you're ready, inhale and extend your arms overhead, reaching all the way up, a nice big stretch. Exhale, swan dive forward, so a good hinge from your hips. Bend your knees as much as you need to. As you make your way down, you don't have to go all the way down. Maybe you'll touch your toes, or maybe your hands land here at your shins. Inhale, rise up halfway, maybe sliding your hands to your knees or thighs to fully extend your spine. Exhale, let's fold again. Perfectly fine to make this a partial fold. Or maybe just put a little bit more bend in your knees and come down a little further. And again, this is where a block might come in handy too. Maybe a block right here or a stack of books. Or you can just place your hands here for a few more breaths. As you hold your forward fold with a softness in your knees, maybe a lengthening and stretch quality down through your hamstrings, a release down through your back, your head, your neck, your shoulders. You can even just give them a little shake. Let's go ahead and lean back into the heels. Bend your knees like you're about to sit down. Then inhale, let's come back up to a standing position, reaching into the air. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. That's our half salute to the sun. Let's go ahead and repeat that. Here we go. Inhale, extend your arms way up high, big stretch. Exhale, let's swan dive forward. Again, a good hinge from your hips. Bend your knees as much as you need to, guiding your way down. Inhale, sliding your hands up to your knees or thighs to extend your spine. We'll call this monkey pose. Exhale, let's fold again. Again, a partial fold is perfect, or more bend in the knees to go a little further. You can hang heavily forward here and kind of loosen up. If you notice you have any tension or tightness in the upper body, your shoulders, your neck, upper back, this is a nice opportunity just to shake it all out. We also hold tension in our mouths or jaws, so you might even a big yawn, just to stretch the jaw and the muscles around the mouth and neck. Let's go ahead and lean back into the heels, bend your knees. We'll inhale and come back up to our standing position, reaching high, extended mountain pose. Exhale, bring your hands together and back down to your heart. Take a breath or two here. We'll continue our sun salute. We'll add on. Whenever you're ready to move, inhale, extend your arms way up into the sky. Exhale, leading with your heart, fold forward with soft knees. Inhale, rise up halfway through the top of your head, lead you forward. Exhale, bend your knees enough to place your hands, your palms on the floor. Step or walk both of your feet back into plank pose. We'll hold this for a few seconds. You can even bring knees to the floor right here to be in plank. We'll take a breath in. Then exhale, finish your push-up. Bend your elbows, coming down towards the floor. Again, you can bring the knees to the floor first. Go ahead and come all the way down. Belly and chest. Roll the shoulders away from the ground. And just barely lift chest away from the ground for a low cobra. Take a nice breath in. And exhale, push back to hands and knees. Curl your toes, lifting knees and hips into the air. Downward facing dog. Just hold here for a moment. You can even pedal the feet. Press one heel down, then the other. As the one heel presses down, the other heel lifts. So you feel a stretch perhaps in your calves, in your toes, even the soles of your feet. Let the knees bend. A couple more times. Inhale here. As you exhale, walk, step, or jump. Both feet return to the top of your mat. Inhale, rise up halfway, our monkey pose. Exhale, let's fold, coming back down. Keeping that softness in your knees. Inhale, reverse your swan dive, coming all the way back up, reaching high. Exhale, hands to heart. Now we're going to keep the body in motion. We're going to move right into our series B of our sun salute. Inhale, reach into the sky. Exhale, take chair pose. Right here, Utkatasana. Now you don't have to sit back or down too deeply. It's just something like this. I'm not even down too far. Breathing in. Exhale, let's dive out of the seat, back down towards toes. Forward fold. Move at your own pace. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, bend your knees, hands to the mat. We'll walk or step back into plank pose. Let's take a breath in. The exhale will finish the push-up, coming down, Chaturanga Dandasana. As you're able, inhale, roll shoulders back, pressing hands into the floor to upward facing dog. Exhale onto your toes, hips into the air, downward facing dog. Let's keep the body in motion. Inhale, extend your right leg up, reaching back. Exhale, guide right foot up to the top of your mat. Let's turn left heel to the floor behind you, shifting the weight back so there's an even distribution of weight between both feet. Inhale, reaching forward, extending arms, rising up into the air, warrior one. Exhale, we'll fold again, coming back down to the mat. We'll step back into plank pose, complete your series. Again, you can bring knees to the floor first if you need to. Cobra pose or upward facing dog as you breathe in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Other side when you're ready. Inhale, let's extend left leg up, reaching high through the balls of the feet. Exhale, let's step through, landing at the top of the mat. Notice how my body weight shifts forward. We want balance, so turn right heel to the floor behind you. Shift your weight back, even distribution of weight. Inhale, reach forward, extended spine, hinge from hips, rising up, warrior one. Exhale, fold. Let's come back down to the earth, plant the hands. Let's step back. Now, if you want to skip all of this, you can always just bend your knees, lift hips into the air, downward facing dog. I call that a shortcut. Just moving through the sequence, but just taking out chaturanga and up dog and just moving right into down dog. Hold here for a moment. Just go ahead and continue. Go ahead and inhale, re-extend right leg up into the air. Let's open this up. Bend your knee. Bring your heel down, lifting the knee into the air, which creates a little twist and opening up through the hips. So really one of our first hip openers of our practice. As you exhale, let's unwind, step through. Right foot up to the top of the mat. Left heel to the floor behind you. Find that balance. Rising up into the air, warrior one. Exhale, here's a warrior two. Make some adjustments with your feet if you need to. If you send the right foot forward a little bit and the left foot back a little bit, you just guide yourself a little deeper into this lunge. Hold here. Nice extension out through your arms, looking out over your right hand. Let's take side angles. So follow the right arm forward, reaching outward. Angled upper body, reaching downward towards the floor. Left hand reaching up into the air. Nice deep breaths here. You can even extend your left arm overhead if you'd like to get more of a side body stretch. We'll breathe in. And the exhale, let's turn. Let's bring hands back down to the mat. Stepping back, plank pose. Finishing your sequence as you'd like. I'll go through chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Inhale, extend left leg up into the air. Reach away. Bend and twist. The twist really is just the opening of the hips. As we exhale, let's unwind. We'll step through. Left foot to the top of the mat. Right heel to the floor. Reaching forward, extended spine. Hinge from hips, rising up, warrior one. Exhale, there's our warrior two. If you need to, make some adjustments here. Again, maybe you just wiggle the left foot forward a tiny bit. Right foot back a tiny bit. Feeling balanced. This is your center right here. Your torso, your pelvis. That should be the center, right between the feet. Side angle pose. Follow your left arm forward, reaching outward. Angled upper body, rotate your arms here. You don't have to go down too low. This is another nice hip opener as well. It's a side angle pose. I like to brace this lowered arm on the inner thigh and give it a little press to open up through the hips and pelvis. You can extend right arm overhead if you'd like for a side body stretch. Now we will be going a little bit deeper a little bit later. We're just getting the body nice and warm. Let's breathe in. Exhale, let's turn. Let's bring the hands back down to the mat. Let's step back into plank pose. Finish your flow. We'll meet up together in downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in your down dog. Let's go ahead and bring knees to the floor. Let's take a seat. In our seat, let's take Cobblers Pose or Bound Angle Pose. Now, a couple of things as far as your comfort in this posture. You can sit directly on your mat and have the knees bent, feet, soles of the feet together just like this. This is perfectly fine. I prefer, just for me, I like to sit on a block for this pose. It protects my low back, and it also creates a little bit more distance between me and the floor so I can get actually a little bit more of a stretch in the inner thighs. Now you might want to sit up nice and tall. You can hold onto your shins, your feet, or even just your knees. You can stay just like this. If you feel like you're getting a nice inner thigh stretch, then you're perfect. You can go a little further, create a little bit more sensation if you'd like. A nice full breath in, lengthening through your spine. Exhale, leading with your heart, leading forward, hinging at the hips. And that puts a little bit more sensation in the inner thighs. You don't have to go too far, just enough until you experience the sensation that you prefer. Stay where you are. I'm just going to turn sideways just to give you another perspective. So we're trying to, at first, maybe keeping this a nice extension through the spine. Now, if you tend to go a little lower, that's fine as well. You might even curve the spine. That also is good. We'll take a couple more breaths. Just a nice holding posture just to get the benefits of this nice stretch in the inner legs. And if you did round your spine, let's go ahead and lift the head to help re-extend the spine, looking forward, lifting yourself up until you're nice and tall in your seat. All right, if you're sitting on a block or something underneath you can just remove that. And go ahead and lean back. You're going to bring your knees together, lifting your feet into the air. We're coming into boat pose. We want to activate the legs and feet. I like to flex the feet here. You can always point your toes. Flexed feet or just active feet just keeps the legs strong. You can hold on to the backs of the legs here, lifting yourself up. You want to have a nicely extended spine. It's so very easy. I'm exaggerating this, but it's so very easy to kind of dump into your back body in this. So you want to lift yourself up. Inhale. Exhaling. You can breathe out through the mouth here if you'd like, engaging the abdominal muscles. You can hold on or you can release. Hold for a couple more breaths. Let's get ready to move. Here we go, breathing in. Exhale, cross legs if you can, hands out in front. Hop or step back into plank pose, finishing your flow. I'm going to go all the way through. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's continue with some deep lunges. Inhale, extend right leg up, bend, open. Exhale, right foot returns to the top of the mat. Left heel turns to the floor, shifting weight back. Warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Just a quick adjustment. I'm going to go a little wider with the feet, getting a little bit more into the inner thighs and hips. Side angle. Stay high here if you'd like. This is where we're going to start to go a little deeper. Take a nice breath in and out a couple times. Here we go. Let's breathe in. Exhale, let's turn. Bring your hands down to the floor on the inside of your right foot. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. You're going to end up in this runner's lunge. And this is where you might want to use a block or two. I'm going to turn to face you so we can have another perspective of this. Alrighty, so hands can be on the floor or on some blocks, just like this, or your stacked books. So this is our initial pose. You may want to bring the left knee down to the mat. You can always keep it up just for a little extra challenge if you'd like. But if you get a little tired, you can always bring that knee down. This is where you might want to pad your knee. Either just fold your mat underneath or grab a blanket or something soft to place underneath you. Now, you're going to step your hands forward. In this case, I have my blocks. Stepping forward a little bit and start bending your elbows. This starts to lower you down a little bit. Now, as you start to lower, you notice the sensation in this hip flexor of this back leg. Now, on the right leg, you might start feeling a stretch on the inner thigh. Now, for me, I can go down about here. Then I feel like I get stuck, and I don't have a whole lot of extra space to move into to get into this right hip flexor. The right inner thigh. The left hip flexor is getting a nice stretch. Because if I move the blocks out of the way and went down lower, I just don't feel like I can go all the way down. Not that you have to go all the way down, because you can always stay up high. But here's a little trick. If you'd like to go a little deeper and further, take this right foot and just heel toe it way out to the side, even off of the mat, like so. There's a good bend in the knee, of course. But if you start to hinge forward a little bit more, you might aggravate this knee here. So I'm moving the toes forward quite a bit, so there's no sensation at all here. This gives me a lot more space in the inner thigh, and it allows me to bring my elbows all the way down to the floor with a lot of space available to me. So again, you don't have to come down this deep, but if you can and would like to, this might be a way to do that. Moving the foot way out of the way, toes turned out and moving forward, creating the space you want in the inner thigh. Let's take a couple more breaths. Again, this left knee can be on the ground, or for that little extra challenge, curl your toes, lift the knee off the ground. 2 more breaths. We're going to make our way slowly out of the pose. If that back knee is lifted, let's bring it back down to the ground. Let's bring ourselves back up onto the hands. And we'll heel toe that foot back in right there onto the mat. Let's press into the floor with the hands, lifting that back knee. I'm putting a lot of pressure and weight in the hands so we can slide or step the right foot back into plank pose. And if you can, keep the right foot lifted. I'm going to turn this way. Right here. So extending still. Not lifting this leg too high. Just barely off the floor, reaching. Then finish your push-up. Inhale, up dog. You can lower that leg to the floor. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we're doing the other side. So an inhale to extend left leg up. Bend and twist. And then taking foot to the top of the mat. Back to our warrior one. Right heel turns to the floor, rising up. Exhale, let's open to our warrior two. Settle in for a moment. More space between the feet, a deeper lunge. side angle. Reaching out. Tipping it over. Really just preparing for that next deep lunge we're about to move into. Here we go, breathing in. Exhale, we'll turn towards the floor. Bring your hands to the mat on the inside of the foot. Rise up on your tiptoes behind you. We'll start in this runner's lunge. We're doing the exact same thing. Now that back knee can stay lifted or set it down. Step the hands forward a little bit. Start bending your elbows and coming down slowly. Take your time so you can really assess how this feels for you. I'm already feeling this in the hip flexor of that back leg. In this front leg, I'm already getting that stretch in the inner thigh. You can do that same trick here, which I'm going to do. Moving this left foot way out to the side. Turning it outward at an angle. I'm going to move the toes forward a little bit so I don't aggravate the knee. And then bend the elbows and come all the way down to the ground. Again, you don't have to come all the way down to the ground. Maybe you're using your stacked books right here or your blocks turned to the appropriate height. So it might look something like this. Use your breath here. This is deep. We're really getting into some muscle fibers and connective tissue here that we really want to nurture and nourish with deep cleansing breaths. You can always shift or come out of the pose when you feel complete. I sometimes think there's a time limit on some deep poses. You don't want your body to overreact, so to speak, and go into that fight or flight response. Being in a challenging pose, it's probably better off for you to start to ease out of the posture. That's fine. Okay, let's take our time to make our way out. If that knee was lifted behind you, set the knee back down to the floor. I'm just moving my props out of the way there. Back up onto my hands. Pushing back a little bit, getting out of that deep lunge. Let's heel toe that foot back in. There we are. Lift that back knee, curl toes. Press firmly into the floor with the hands. So you can slide or step the left foot back right here. Plank pose with left foot lifted. Really extend. Reach through your toes. Reach through the crown of your head, then finish your push-up. Come on down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a moment, take a breath. Another nice full breath in. As you exhale, walk, step, or even jump up to the top of your mat. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, coming all the way back up. Reach for the sky. Exhale, hands down to your heart. Take a couple breaths. Very nicely done. Good job. If you need to rest at any time in your practice today, please feel free. You can always pause, take a sip of water, wipe the sweat if you're sweating a little bit, and then just rejoin when you're ready. Let's move into balance. So a tree pose. Let's start with the right foot. So you're going to keep the right foot rooted into the floor. So shifting your weight into your right foot, really root down strongly. Feel long and tall to the spine. Nice breath in to help that extension. Exhale, engaging your belly. Float left foot up into the air, bending the knee. Maybe a flexed foot just to keep that leg strong, just like we did in boat pose. Swing the knee out to the side like that, opening up, placing the foot on the inside of your standing leg. I always default at my calf muscle right there, just below the knee. You can certainly take this lower, where your toes touch the ground for a little extra stability if you need it, or grab hold of that ankle or shin and bring the foot to inner thigh. When you're ready, inhale, extend both arms up into the air. Exhale, reconnect to center. Let's hold here for a few moments. Now, of course, this is a balancing pose. It's okay if you wiggle or wobble or even step out of the posture. It's all a part of the experience, no worries. But it's also a hip opener. Because of the way the leg is outwardly turned, the knee pointing out to the side as it is, it's a hip opener. So I really like adding this pose to this type of practice. All right, let's swing that left knee forward, lifting your knee with a flexed foot. Let's plant the foot back down into the ground and bring hands back down to heart center. I always like to kind of shape this out. Just kind of being in a pose and really feeling engaged in all of your muscles. Just take a moment. Take a breath. Shake all that tension away. And then just get prepared for the next side. Here we go, shifting weight into the left foot, root down firmly into the floor. Long spine as you breathe in, exhale to engage. We'll float the right foot up, flexed foot to keep the leg strong, swinging the knee out. There's our hip opener, placing foot on the inside of the standing leg. Low, medium, or high. You choose. You can always change it. Inhale, extend your arms straight up into the air. Exhale, engaging your core center to help stabilize and balance as we hold for a few breaths. Again, a nice lifting sensation in addition to the balance and hip opener. Now, you're not just arbitrarily having the arms in the air. You want to reach. As you reach, stay where you are. You want to feel the torso lift. The more you lift, you actually create a little more space in the hips that allows the knee to kind of point out towards the side of the room. Coming out, let's swing that knee forward, lifting your knee with the flexed foot. Plant the foot back down into the ground, hands back down to your heart. And if you'd like, again, just shake all of that out. Well done. So there's our balance. All right, let's get ready to flow. Let's add on to our sequence. Here we go. Inhale, extend the arms into the air. Exhale, swan dive forward. Moving at your own pace. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, bend your knees, hands to the mat. Walk or step back into plank pose. Come on down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, extend right leg up. Bend, twist open. Let's choose a new pose here. How about pigeon? As we unwind, you're going to bring your right knee to the floor behind your right wrist. I'm going to turn to face you. Now the knee, right behind the wrist, I'm going to suggest that you take this knee slightly to the outside of the wrist, just so you have a nice alignment and opening in the hips available to you. Nice angled leg. You can use the back leg, use your knee and toes, crawling back, shifting your weight back. Let me turn this way for a second so you can see this. Because my weight is forward, but I want to shift the weight back using knee and toes, shifting the weight back. So I'm really settling into the hips right here. Now, if this is way too much for your knee or your hip or even your ankle, here's an alternative. You might want to roll around onto your back, maybe something like this. Since we're using right leg, we're going to cross right ankle over left thigh like this. And even bring the legs in close. This is going to target the outer hip, even some of the glute area here, okay? So if you need an alternative to pigeon, try this. All right, let me meet up with you in our pigeon pose. Now you might want to inhale, lifting and lengthening through spine. Exhale, crawl forward. Take your time. You might end up here on your forearms, lengthening, or even bring the forehead closer to the ground. Here's another opportunity perhaps to use a block. You can bring a block in, maybe just rest your forehead on your block, something like this. That way the spine can stay nice and long, rather than maybe being up too high and dropping your head where that creates that curvature in the spine. Not that this is incorrect, not at all. But if you're really looking for that alignment through the whole spine, maybe something like this. Let's hold here for a few breaths. Just like that other deep lunge we did, we're targeting the left hip flexor with that leg extended back behind us. We're getting into that right leg as well, that right inner thigh, but because of this position, you may feel this kind of the outer hip and glute as well. All right, let's just take a couple more breaths. After the second breath, take your time, just going to rise back up. Go ahead and lean over to your right side, take a seat, swing this left leg around to the front. Let's return to that Cobblers Pose. We did this earlier, just something like this. We'll inhale to get some length in the spine. Exhale, fold a little bit just to get more into the inner thighs. Just a couple breaths. We're just going to keep going with our flow. Go ahead and rise back up with an extended spine. Once you're tall, keep leaning back. Let's bring the knees together, lift your feet, back to our boat pose. Take a breath in. Exhale, cross legs. Hands in front, hop or step back plank pose, finishing your flow. Up dog, downward facing dog. Let's do our pigeon on the other side. We'll take a breath in to extend left leg up, bend and twist. As we unwind, we're going to exhale and bring left knee now down to the floor behind the left wrist. Then send that left knee just slightly to the outside of the wrist if that feels okay on your joints. A nice angled leg that feels okay, or again, flip over onto your back to do that alternative. Crawl the right leg back, so you're shifting your body weight back, finding balance, you're centering, settling in. A nice breath in to find some lengthening through your torso as you exhale, step forward, crawl forward. It could be something like this. As you're able, elbows can come down, even your head. Even something like this is fine. Even let's block or stacked books right here for your forehead. You might just bring it all the way down to the ground. Settle in. Just notice the sensations in your body. Again, we want to hold positions like this to really get into those tight spaces. Send that clearing breath into those spaces that need a little release. 2 more breaths. Take your time. Start to rise back up. No rush at all. Maybe back up onto your hands. Or you're going to take a seat off to the left side. So you can bring this right leg around to the front. Soles of the feet together back to our Cobblers Pose. Sitting up tall for an extended spine. Exhale, hinge forward a little bit right there. Maybe a little bit lower. Again, it's okay if the back rounds right here. Just a couple more breaths. Just going to keep this in motion. Re-extend spine by lifting the head. Hinging your way back up into your tall. Start to lean back. Bring the knees together, lift feet, boat pose. Breathe in, more length in the spine. Exhale, cross legs, hands in front if you can. Hop back, plank pose. Let's hold here. I've got something else to show you here. Plank. Lift your right foot a few inches off the floor, not very far. Lift, extend. We're going to recreate tree pose. I call it fallen tree. Take this right foot, place on the inside of the extended leg. It can be down by your calf. Knee pointing out to the side. You'll notice gravity wants to pull that knee down. Resist that sensation by lifting knee towards the ceiling. You'll feel this for sure. This is certainly a hip opener. Now, I call this a partial push-up from our fallen tree position. Bend your elbows a little bit like you're about to do a push-up, just a little bit. Exhale, push away to down dog. Extend right leg up into the air. Let's just bring the foot back down next to the other. Let's return to our plank pose. Let's just do the same thing other side. So we're lifting left foot. Same thing. Not lifting too high. We want to keep the hips a little higher than the lifted foot. Extended spine. Fallen tree. Let's bring left foot to the inside of the extended leg. Down by the calf is fine. Resist gravity by lifting knee. That takes a lot of muscle engagement. Feel that. Use your breath for stabilization. Here comes our partial push-up. Little bend of elbows. Push away to down dog. Re-extend. Left leg up into the air. Let's just lower this foot back down to the ground. Jump, step, or walk with a good exhale up to the top of your mat. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, fold. Roll back into the heels, bend your knees. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Come back up nice and tall, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Very nice. How are you feeling? Feel free to shake all that out if you need to. Maybe especially in the hands and wrists. Maybe a little circle in the wrists. Since that's a lot of kind of a force flex position in those plank poses, especially with that fallen tree posture. Okay. Let's do another hip opener. Now what I call this is a cross-legged chair pose. So again, kind of like tree. You're shifting weight over to the right foot, root down, feel tall up top. Core engagement. We'll float the left foot up, flex the foot, strong leg. I call this a soccer kick. So kick the soccer ball Bend the right knee a little bit so you can cross this ankle over thigh. For a quick moment, set your hands on your hips just to maintain or be aware of the hip alignment. That helps. I'm going to turn this way. Now, hands on hips. We're just shifting the weight back, moving the hips to the back edge of your mat while your heart and head are going forward, so we maintain a nicely extended spine. Hands are on hips to ensure an evenness in the hips to help with balance. Now, are you starting to feel this in the hip and glute? You can certainly go a little lower if you want. I like to do this. Bring the arms like this, your forearms perhaps, to the shin in front. A little press back into the shins to help extend the spine. You can even crawl down a little deeper. Now the back might begin to round, that's fine. Now I'm really feeling this. You can stay like this. If this is too far, come back up, or maybe go down a little lower. Couple more breaths. This is almost like Pigeon Pose. We're just doing it in a standing, balancing posture. Now, inhale. Float the arms out and up, coming all the way back up. Let's lift, uncross that leg, lift the knee, flex foot, swing that knee out to the side, tree pose. Yes, just like that. Hold for a second. Let's swing that knee forward, lift the knee with the flexed foot, plant the foot back down into the ground, hands to heart center, completing that side. Again, shake it out if you want to. Nicely done. Okay, so it starts with a balance, and then we get into that hip opener. Go as low as you want, or stay as high up as you need to. Shifting weight into the left foot, root down, stay tall, core connection. Let's float the right foot up. Soccer ball kick. Bend the left knee so you can cross ankle over thigh. Hands on hips for that evenness. Keep bending the knee a little bit. Send the hips back, heart forward as you take this a little lower and deeper. Just to the place where it feels just right, to the sensation you want in your hips. Here is fine. Or arms out in front, braced against the shin to help extend spine. Lower if you want, stay up high as you need to. I'm going to go a little lower just so I can really experience the sensation that I need right now in the outer hip and glute. And of course, breath. It's okay if you wobble or step out of the pose, because we certainly are balancing here. Now when you're ready, inhale, extend the arms out, rising up. Uncross the leg, lifting knee with the flexed foot, tree pose, swing that knee out to the side. Let's plug the foot into the standing leg, reach up. Completing, let's swing that knee forward, lifting knee with the flexed foot, set the foot back down, hands return to your heart. Stay here or shake it all out. Alrighty. Now, let's continue with the sequence. We're going to start with the tree pose, and it's going to take us into a lunge. Just follow me, you'll get this. Okay, so standing at the top of the mat, tree. Shifting weight over to your right foot, root down, let's lift the left foot, swing it out, plug it in, just like that. Okay, I'm just going to be here. Arms nicely extended, inhale. Exhale, core connection. Now follow me. Swing that left knee forward. Lift your knee with the flexed foot. Now, bend the right knee a little bit. Just kind of drop down. Just bend the knee a little bit. Start to hinge forward like so. Reaching out through the arms, extend the left leg back. Reach. Keep bending right knee until you can set the toes onto the floor behind you. You'll be in this high lunge position because you're still on your toes back there. Inhale, good reach. Exhale, open, warrior two. Right into side angle pose. Nicely opened. Exhale, turn, hands to the floor. Step back, plank pose, right foot lifted. Reach, fallen tree. Remember that? Foot to the inner leg, lift the knee. So the knee is pointing to the side of the room. Partial push up, downward facing dog. Right leg up into the air. Now, right foot to the top of the mat. Stay here in this runner's lunge. Just kind of shift your body weight forward a little bit because you're going to step the left foot up to the top of the mat. So we're in a forward fold. Lean back into your heels, bend your knees, inhale, reverse swan dive, coming all the way back up, reach high, exhale, hands to heart. Same thing other side, starting with tree. Shifting weight into the left foot, root down, nice and tall up top, core connection. Float right foot up, swing the knee out to the side. Let's plug it in. Inhale, reach into the air. Stay where you are. Now, as arms stay extended, swing right knee forward, lifting knee with a flexed foot. Bend the left knee, hinge forward about 45 degrees. Keep extending out through the arms. Extend right leg back. Bend the left knee more so you can set the toes onto the floor behind you, rising until you're tall into high lunge. As you exhale, open it to warrior two. Yeah, that back heel plants into the floor. Side angle. Right here. Maybe extending your right arm overhead for a nice side body stretch. Still in motion, breathe in. Exhale, turn, hands to the floor. Step back, plank, left foot lifted. Fallen tree. Partial push-up. Now you can go lower if you want to, just to challenge your body. Downward facing dog. Left foot to the top of the mat. Stay here in the runner's lunge. Keep the weight forward so you can step the right foot up to the top of the mat until you're in forward fold. Lean back into the heels. Bend your knees. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Coming all the way back up, nice and tall, reach high. Exhale, hands down to your heart. Take a couple of breaths. Get a sip of water if you need it. Shake it out. We just keep adding on to this sequence. Actually, we've done all the parts of all the components we want to put into this sequence. We're just kind of building it all together now. All right, here we go. Whenever you're ready to begin with me. Same thing, we're starting with that tree pose. Shifting weight into the right foot. Float the left foot up. Swing it out, plug it in. Reach the arms into the sky. Swing left knee forward, lifting knee with a flexed foot. Bend the right knee. Hinge forward 45 degrees, extending left leg back, reach. Bend the right knee so you can come down closer to the floor to put the toes back behind you. Rise up, high lunge. Open up, warrior two. Side angle, let's keep it flowing. Left arm reaching up and over your head. Reach and stretch, turn. Bring hands to the floor. Step back, plank pose. Right foot lifted. Fallen tree. Partial push-up, downward facing dog. Nice extended right leg up into the air. Bend and twist. Pigeon. Right knee to the floor. And we're going to do something a little different. Once you've landed here, let's use the knee and toes, crawl back. So we're settled right in the center here. Now, instead of going down like we did earlier, you're going to bring your hands by your side like this. Prop yourself up onto your fingertips. Press down into the floor to lift upper body. It's almost like you're in upward facing dog. So we're just using the fingertips, pressing into the floor to get a good lift, to get the back bend version of our pigeon. And you may feel this right down to that left hip flexor, and of course the right leg as it is. Now, to really engage if you want, this is an option. I'm really hugging in towards center line. Belly draws in, even squeezing inner thighs towards each other to engage and to support, so I can extend arms up into the air if you want. Again, an option. Let's bring the arms back down if they were up into the air. Take a seat off to the right side. Swing this left leg around. Quick Cobblers Pose. Lean back, knees together, lift feet, boat. Inhale. Exhale, cross legs. Hands in front, step or hop back in plank pose. Come on down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're still adding on. Inhale, extend right leg up. Right foot returns to the top of the mat. Let's go to a high lunge this time. Shifting weight back. Heel stays lifted behind you as you rise up. Now, we're going to what I call that cross-legged chair pose we did earlier. Hinge forward about 45 degrees. Keep extending. Now start shifting weight into the right foot, pushing through the back toes. So you can pick up that back foot. Bend that knee. Bring the knee forward. Here comes that soccer kick. Kick the soccer ball. Cross ankle over thigh. Arms can stay extended. Hands can come to hips or bring hands down in front. as low as you'd like to go. We're going to end the pose with tree. When you're ready, maybe sweep the arms out, then up, rising up, uncrossing the leg, lifting knee, flex foot, swing the knee out to the side, plugging foot to the inner leg. There's our tree. Swing that knee forward, back down to the ground, hands to your heart. Now I call this sequence tree to tree, because we start in tree pose and we end in tree pose. There's a lot of stuff in between, right? Okay, other side. Shifting weight now into the left foot, root down. Nice and tall up top, core connected. We'll float the right foot up, tree pose. Swing the knee out to the side, plug it in. So here's the start of the tree, knowing that we're going to end in the same pose. Stay where you are. Swing the knee forward, lift your knee with the flexed foot. Start to hinge, bend the left knee, hinge forward a little bit. Extend the right leg back. Come down lower so the toes can touch the ground easily. High lunge. Warrior two, opening. And go a little deeper. As the body warms up, you can go a little deeper perhaps. Side angle, right arm reaching overhead. Breathe in. Exhale, turn, hands to the floor. Step back, plank pose, left foot lifted. Fallen tree. Partial push-up or more to down dog. Left leg in the air, bend and twist. Pigeon, left knee to the ground. Again, using right knee and toes, shifting back, sitting down a little deeper. Now we're staying high in the pose. You can even keep it just like this. Hands can stay in front, like so, with an angled upper body. This way it takes some of that compression out of the low back. Because as we know, back bends can potentially put a little compression in the low back. That's why when we bring the hands to the side like this, propped up on fingertips, we can press down into the floor to get a good lift, because we're rising up into that back bend. But the more we have that extension, nice and high, we get that decompression in the low back. Ooh, this is a nice hip flexor stretch. Can you feel that? Oh, I love that feeling. It feels good. Okay? Squeezing inner thighs towards each other, core engaged. Optional, arms up into the air. Coming back down, take a seat off to left side. Swing this right leg around to the front. Click Cobblers Pose just to re-extend, hip opener. Lean back, knees together, lifted feet, boat. Inhale. Exhale, cross legs, hands in front. Maybe hop back, plank pose. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Remember, we're ending with tree, so inhale, extend left leg up into the air. Exhale, left foot to the top of the mat, high lunge, shifting weight back, right heel's lifted, rising up, hinging forward about 45 degrees. Good extension, good energy in the body, pushing through the toes. So you can lift that back foot, bend the knee, bring the knee forward. Here comes the soccer kick. Right there, cross ankle over thigh. Here's our cross-legged chair pose. Hands can stay here, or to hips, or to the shin. Lower if you want. Almost there. Extend the arms out to the side. Inhale to rise back up, uncross the leg, lift the knee, flexed foot. Here comes that tree pose, lift, taking the knee out to the side, foot to the inner leg. There it is, tree pose. Go ahead and bring the knee forward, lifting your knee with a flexed foot. Plant the foot into the ground. Hands to heart center. Take a couple of breaths. We're going to go through that whole sequence again, just really making it flow as best as you can. Remember, this is your practice. Take the time that you need, take the pace that you need. Pause, rest, anything you need to do. If you get a little behind me, that's okay. Starting with tree. Remember our tree to tree sequence. Here we go. Shifting weight to right foot. Lifting left. Swing the knee out to the side. Plug it in. Arms up into the air. Stay where you are. Swing the knee forward. Lift knee with the flexed foot. Bend your right knee. So we can hinge. Extending arms. Extend that back leg. Come down. High lunge. Set the toes onto the floor. Rising up. There's our high lunge. Open. Warrior two. Side angle. Reach. Left arm overhead, reach and stretch, turn. Hands to the floor, step back, plank pose, right foot lifted. fallen tree, partial push-up or full push-up to down dog, right leg up into the air, bend and twist, pigeon, knee to the floor. Use left knee and toes, crawl that leg back, hands stay here or to the side, press, lift, hands can stay on the floor or reaching up into the sky, right back down to the floor, sit off to right side, swing left leg around to the front. Quick cobbler's pose, lean back, knees together, lift feet, boat, cross legs, hands in front, hop or step back, plank, come down, chaturanga, up dog, exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, extend right leg up, right foot to the top of the mat. High lunge, hinge forward about 45 degrees, shifting weight into the right foot, pick up that left foot, bend the knee, bring it forward, soccer kick, left ankle over right thigh, take your seat. We're rising up right away, right into tree pose. Swing that knee forward, lifting knee, flexed foot to the ground, hands to your heart. Just take a quick breath as we get ready for the other side. Here we go. Shifting weight into the left foot, lifting right, swing the knee out to the side, plug it in, tree pose, arms up into the sky. Stay where you are. Swing that right knee forward, lifting knee with flexed foot. Bend the left knee so we can hinge, extend out through the arms and back leg. Come down, set toes on the floor, high lunge. Warrior two. Side angle. Reach and extend. As you exhale, turn, hands to the floor. Step back, plank pose, left foot lifted. Fallen tree. Partial push-up, downward facing dog. Bend and twist. Pigeon. Knee comes down to the floor. Crawl right leg back to find that center. Stay here or hands to the side. Lift. Upper body. Hands can stay on the floor or reach up into the air. It's a quick one. Hands right back down to the floor. Sit off to your left side. Right leg comes around to the front. Quick cobbler's pose. Also a nice realignment of the body there. Lean back, lift the feet. Boat. Here we go. Cross legs, hands in front. Hop back, plank, come down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Almost there. Here we go. Inhale, extend left leg up. Left foot to the top of the mat. High lunge. Hinge forward about 45 degrees. Pushing through the toes behind you. Lift that back foot. Bend the knee. Bring the knee forward. Soccer kick. Cross ankle over thigh. Take your seat. Rising up tall. Finishing up. Tree pose. There it is. Hold. Keep arms extended. Swing left knee forward or right knee forward. Set foot onto the floor. Hands back to heart. Take some well-deserved deep breaths here. Even shake this out. Wonderful. Nice work. All right, after all that good work, now you deserve a good rest. Let's return to mountain pose. Take your time as we make our way down to the ground. Here we go. Inhale, fully extend the arms out and up. Move slowly here. Now your breath might be kind of intense and breathing quickly, but as we start to flow slowly and make our way down eventually to the floor, that'll start to calm. Monkey pose. Exhale, bend your knees, hands to your mat. Just step back, just walk back into plank. We'll skip that last chaturanga unless you want to do one more, right into downward facing dog. Hold here. Go ahead and bring knees to the floor. You're going to sit back and down off to the side. Swing the legs around to the front. Sit in the center of your mat. You're going to lie down. Feel free to use something soft to lie on, either just for your head or unfold a blanket over your entire mat if you want something soft for your entire body. And just settling here. So knees are bent, feet flat on the floor. We've got a couple more things we're going to do. Not much. Let's hug the knees into body. A little circle of the knees. We'll get into the low back and hips. Let's take a twist. We're going to start by taking the knees over to the left side as you extend your right arm to the right side. Just a few breaths, and as you're breathing, still taking note of the quality of your breath. And just notice if you're still out of breath or breathing a little bit more quickly after that dynamic sequence. Or maybe it's starting to calm down. Just notice. Just a couple more breaths on this side for our twist. I want to give you some good time in Shavasana so you can really, truly rest. Let's bring the knees back up to center. Pause there for a second. You can take knees down to the other side. And you can always hold these twisting postures as long as you need to. Once again, maybe just noticing the quality of your breath. And go ahead and take 2 more breaths. Move when you're ready to move. Go ahead and return to center. I'm going to give you some options for Shavasana. You can just set the feet down onto the floor, let everything soften, and then go ahead and extend the legs straight out in front and just come to a traditional Shavasana. We can even take this into a kind of a reclining Cobblers Pose, just to create that continual sensation of the inner thigh stretch, just like this. So just some options here for your last pose. Wherever you are, just want to feel very relaxed. Let everything release. Close your eyes. Maybe your breath is starting to calm. You can breathe a little bit more deeply. Take the time that you need here. This is your time. Notice your breath. The simple awareness that you are breathing. As you're able to send this breath throughout your entire body, perhaps into these newly opened spaces. We did hip openers in our practice together, so perhaps send the breath into these opened and released parts of your body. Now allow your breath to bring movement back into your body. Maybe it'll start with the little wiggle of your fingers, wiggle your toes, move your hands, move your feet. Very slow, gentle movement. Take a breath or two. As that movement returns, slowly and carefully roll onto either side of your body, just for a few moments in this nurturing pose. It might resemble a fetal position. And then again, moving in slow motion, guide your way up to seated. Just find a comfortable seat. You can cross your legs, or keep the legs extended. You can let your arms and hands rest in your lap or bring hands to heart center. Return to the awareness of your breath. Slow, deep breaths. As you're able, breathe into your heart space. Fill yourself up. And a complete exhale. Do that once again. A nice full breath in and a complete breath out. And hold in stillness for a few moments, breathing gently. And as we complete our practice together, we bow together saying, Namaste.